page turners. Welcome to Writers with Purpose. I'm your host, Melvese from Written Words Publishing. At Written Words Publishing, we envision a world where every storyteller, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to share their voice, shape narratives, and impact the world through the written word. So if you value powerful storytelling, which I know you do, page turners, because you all are here with us every week, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow this channel, and most of all, share, 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 share. You know that every week we always have a guest that comes on with a great story to tell, and it's always something that's worthy of sharing. Somebody you know needs to hear the conversation that we are going to have today, okay? So let me ask you all a question on page turners. What happens when following God's call costs you the life you've built? Hmm. Preaching and persecution in Sin City is the powerful true story of R. Joshua Collins, a successful math teacher who walked away from his career, sold his possessions, and devoted his life to serving the homeless and preaching the gospel in Las Vegas. His journey would ultimately lead him from the streets to the courtroom in an incredible fight for faith, truth, and justice. Okay, justice. Okay, page turners. This is a story that you definitely want to hear. Somebody you know needs to hear. Share it right now. Okay. Before we bring Joshua on the stage, let's take a look at his at the trailer for his book. I'm going to share the screen, and just so you all know, the producer, he called out sick today, so I didn't get a chance to test this. So everything is going to work out right good right now when I share this video. Here we go.
What happens in Vegas when a Christian refuses to remain silent? Read Preaching and Persecution in Sin City. One man left all. His math teaching career, became homeless to travel and preach the gospel. He went to Sin City. God was his strength. Over 30 arrests for preaching and defending the poor and the homeless. Judges were defeated by him as the Lord spoke through him. A true story, preaching and persecution in Sin City. Please share this video message and get the book today. Now available on Amazon and as a PDF and an audiobook. Your purchase helps support this ministry serving the homeless and others in need.
All right, y'all. Wow, I'm stirred up. I'm stirred up, y'all. Let's hurry up and get Joshua on the stage, and he can tell us about this story right here. How are you doing today, Joshua? Welcome to Writers
Oh,
with Purpose.
thank you so much. I feel so blessed to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, thank you. Well, it looks like we might not be having that issue anymore, but just in case we do, page turners, just know that there was a bit of a delay in our communication with our connection here, but I think God fixed it. So tell the page turners something about yourself, Joshua.
Okay. Well, I'm a preacher. I also a math teacher. I've taught a lot of math, obviously, but yeah, God transformed my life. I wasn't raised as a Christian, just so you all know, but I was raised in Spokane, Washington, actually, and my family was very much about education and encouraging me to get a good education. So I did that. I graduated magna cum laude from Eastern Washington University with a math teaching degree, and I did teach for some time. I actually was working on my master's in math education, and then the Lord got a hold of me and totally redirected me. I stopped working on my master's in math education, and I actually began teaching at a Christian high school because I wanted to get involved more in ministry. And then from there, eventually God called me to leave everything and live with the homeless and travel and preach. And that was back in 2002. And I first city I went to was Seattle for 3 years, and then LA, then Venice Beach, and then Vegas, where a lot of persecution happened. The worst persecution, actually. And from there, I came here to California. I'm now in the Anaheim area, and definitely happy to share more of the book and answer any questions you guys might have.
Awesome. That's great. Wow, you have like really been all around, but obviously there was something really significant about being in Sin City that made you write this book. So tell us what was your purpose for writing Preaching and Persecution in Sin City?
Well, I thought it would be a great way to encourage people's faith. A lot of people are maybe they're afraid to share their faith, or maybe they don't think God's going to move if they move with God. But this book really shows how God really moved in my life when I was out there doing the work of the Lord, and just trusting Him and walking with Him, even though it might cost me my freedom. You know, I spent obviously a lot of time in jail, over 30 arrests, and you'd have to basically sit 3 weeks in jail before you saw the judge. That's how they do you if you plead not guilty. If you plead guilty, they let you out real fast. But if you want to fight the system in any kind of way, they make it a little harder for you. So I'd be sitting about 3 weeks in jail each time, getting arrested. Sometimes they kick me out fast, but not, they might just throw it out. But if they wanted to fight me, then they'd have to do that, keep me there for 3 weeks. So, but through that, eventually I got to know the laws really well. God really opened my eyes to understanding, the corruption as well. I won my 24th case against the city of Las Vegas as my own attorney. And I began fighting all of my cases, of course, continuing to do that. Eventually, they just would start kicking me out, basically, because I knew that I was going to fight them. I'm sure they probably didn't want to mess with me anymore. but that was, and that actually got to the point where I was thinking I want to be a lawyer, But then I came to Anaheim, and God, because I almost went to law school out here, but then God was telling me, just stay on the streets, and do the same thing, basically, because they were doing the same harassment here. Here in Anaheim, we were actually, through our activism work, able to get the county to create shelters, more shelter for the homeless. They didn't have that here, and they used to take people's property, and they were passing laws saying you can't have your property in public spaces. And so the homeless were always getting jammed up and property taken and all that here. So, but a lot of people got involved. I shared videos on YouTube about what was happening. In my YouTube channel, r.Joshua Collins, you can see a lot of those videos back in 2013 when I first got here, videos of filming the police and all that. But I didn't have a camera when I was in Vegas so much, but here I did. So I was able to film a lot of what was happening. But yeah, that was another reason too, is the book is now also a voice for the homeless and the poor. It explains the laws that are in defense of the poor. God commands us to defend the poor and the needy in Proverbs 31:8-9, and a lot of other verses, obviously. And sometimes the church doesn't understand that battle, especially if they haven't ever been homeless or extra on the poor side of the fence. So this book really shines a light on that situation, because there's many people today that are oppressed. James chapter 2 says it's the rich that oppress you and drag you into court and blaspheme the worthy name by which you're called. That's James chapter 2. That was happening way back, obviously in Bible days and still today. So that's why another reason is to be a voice for those in need, and also thirdly, you could say also to explain to people the Christian heritage as far as our country, the laws. A lot of the president's quotes are in the book that expressed a faith in God, and obviously we have one nation under God, right? People pledging the allegiance, one nation under God. So the secularization of the nation has obviously been occurring in a lot of different ways, but this book is to combat that, to educate people and hopefully to bring this nation and more people back to the Lord. And that's another point is just it's a witness for people to see God is real, and that obviously we all need salvation. Jesus is the only way to heaven. He died for us on the cross to save us from hell, to give us everlasting life. There's not many ways to heaven, and so all of these messages are wrapped up in that book. And I hope you'll get it and check it out. It's a very encouraging book for your faith. That's for sure.
Wow, that look, you just from what you just said right there, everybody should just run and go get that book just so you can hear the rest of it, because that right there that you packed into those couple of minutes was, woo, yeah. So God had a purpose for you, and you answered your call, and that's great. Let's take it back to the beginning a little bit, because you said you had a successful career as a math teacher. So what happened in your encounter with Christ that made you say that you're willing to just give up everything and totally give your life over like that? And yeah.
That's a great question. So the more I read the scriptures, I just saw, all the apostles going out preaching, willing to die for the Lord, leaving everything. That's just what all the early churches, disciples and leaders were doing in the church. So I had that mentality, and I didn't come to Christ coming from a church where maybe they taught me different things that weren't right in the Bible, but I came right to the Bible when I got saved, because wasn't a preacher that brought me to the Lord so much. And this is what happened. I was going through some hard times in my life because of some of the bad choices I'd been making, sinful choices, I'm sure, was basically what it is. But a thought in my mind was this thought. It said, well, if you would done what the Bible said to do, this wouldn't have happened to you. And then I realized, wow, that Bible must be real. And so I started to, do things differently, as far as I knew, that I knew would be better according to God's ways. Eventually I got a hold of a Bible and started reading it. And that's what obviously got me all fired up for Christ. I thought, wow, he died for me. And the book of Revelation got me really excited. Prophecies in the Bible, wow, this book is prophetic. It was just like a new world open up for me. And I just want to totally put my life all in for him. So that's kind of my conversion experience. Eventually I got baptized. And then after I taught 1 year at that Christian school in Idaho, it was called Post Falls Christian Academy, is where I was teaching at. The Lord appeared to me in such a powerful way. It was kind of like that Isaiah chapter 6 experience where holy, holy, holy is the Lord and woe is me. Like, he is so awesome and holy. I felt like I wasn't worthy to say his name. That is how holy he is. And that's that experience, that I can encounter with him. And then from there, I just prayed, God have mercy on my soul. He gave me this boldness to preach. I'd never had that before. I used to watch people preaching boldly and think, wow, I can never do that. I was doing music ministry, right? Like I was showing you my guitar here and everything. I was doing music ministry, but I thought, I used to see people boldly preaching in the parks and things and think, I can't do that. I'll just sit back here on the keyboard or on the guitar or whatever. But let them do that. But God had a purpose. He said, no, you're going to do that, right? And so I can't fight God. So he gave me that boldness, and I just started trying to exercise my faith, walking in that boldness. And it just took me all over the place, as you know. But yeah, that's kind of how it all went down, you could say. And I'm still just doing my best to preach on the streets when I can, and obviously working to get this book out and things is taking up some time, but I still have a great heart for the streets. We do a homeless outreach every Saturday, bringing food to the homeless and trying to get them in a sober living shelter where we can. There's still not enough shelter space and affordable housing out here. So I still speak at the city council meetings here, just like I spoke at the city council meetings in Las Vegas. Just staying fully involved in all these types of activism activities is what I do. And I have a lot of joy, really thankful for the people that have come alongside to help too in different ways. It's been really awesome.
That's awesome. That is awesome. You are definitely blessed to be a blessing. That is so awesome. Well, like selling all your possessions and choosing to, live among, people that were experiencing homelessness. That's something that, most people would probably consider to be a little extreme. So what type of reaction did you receive from the people that were closest to you when you made that decision to make that huge change in your life like that?
That's a great question. Well, I would say, certain people, like, for instance, my mother, she's not a believer yet. Pray for her, please. But obviously, she was not happy because of her perspective, right? That I should probably still be, I'm sure she's probably thinking still be having a great math career and stay, doing those types of things. But others in my family were supportive. My uncle and his wife been really supportive, so, and others too. But, and it's interesting, the dad's side of the family, I never really met until just about 3 years ago. So I just got connected with them, but thank God that they're all believers pretty much. So that's been awesome to connect with them. But yeah, the reactions, that's basically what the reactions were. Some were supportive, some didn't understand and probably thought I lost my mind or whatever. Because you're out there street preaching on corners. They, some people think this or that, but you got to do what God tells you to do, regardless of what people think. I know they thought Jesus was crazy, and other people out there doing the ministry work, they think, oh, you guys are nuts for sharing the gospel, or it's a waste of time or whatever. But we know better from what God's word says. It's actually a command to go and make disciples of all nations. He says, go to the highways and the byways, compel them to come in, so his house will be full. So we have a command from God to be part of that great commission. And so, yeah, you really can't worry about what people think, but you definitely have different responses. That's for sure. When you take on that calling, that's for sure.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, you can't worry about what people think. Do not let now this applies to everybody, and especially to you writers out there. Do not let the opinions of others affect your ability to do what you were called to do. Do not let the opinions of others hinder your ability to do what you were called to do. Okay, it doesn't matter what they say. It does not matter what they say. I'll just have to throw that in there. Okay, Joshua, tell us,
Amen.
while you were, actually living, on the streets, what did you learn about homelessness that someone who's never experienced it would not be able to understand from the outside looking in?
It's really a world where you can be attacked at any moment, whether it be from the police or
Mm.
from maybe someone coming to steal your stuff. I remember one time I camped out and someone stole my bike right from under me. And by the grace of God, like I was on the streets over 10 years, traveling different cities. Never got clubbed on the head. God took care of me. See all my teeth? See that? Got all my teeth still. Everything's good. God took care of me. But you know, it's amazing though the things that happen out there. And but thank God he took care of me. I typically myself would camp by myself because that's just I wanted to be, not around a bunch of people and things. But police can come upon you at any time and start questioning you and tell you to leave, or maybe they'll give you a ticket or arrest you. Remember the first time I came to Anaheim, they came and they said we can be in the park, and I was going to go, and they still gave me a ticket in Anaheim. That was my first night there. So I actually went into a reporter. I spoke to a newspaper reporter, and they put the event that happened in the paper. And I just explained, this is crazy, because it was the same thing that was happening in Vegas. So I just started going right back into activism mode, because change needs to happen. You can't just treat poor people so horribly, where you're ticketing them when they don't have any money, or taking them to
Like,
jail
what's the
and
point?
taking all their stuff. Here in Anaheim, yeah. And what they do here, they'll take property and they won't give their property back. Sometimes you're taking from the homeless people. Even the Anaheim the police department even confessed that there's a lot of property that they have not returned to people. A lot of property, thousands of items. So that's the thing. That kind of stuff. When you don't have the money for a good attorney, you're gonna get railroaded in the courts. No, that's one of the reasons I wanted to be an attorney. Because I want to
Mm.
go fight for these people that can't have no one that can't speak for themselves. A lot of times they don't have that education. I was raised where I had got a good education and I can speak pretty well, and but not everyone can do that. That's homeless, and so they need someone that can be a voice for them. And I do try to get some of them to come speak at the council meeting. Sometimes they do. We actually got two homeless mothers with 4 children off the streets by getting them to come to the city council meeting, because the city that was city, it's called CityNet, as the organization supposed to help the homeless, weren't getting these people off the street. And I met them at our outreach and said, hey, let's come with me to City Hall. We'll get you in front of the mayor and the council and see, because they always want to look great on the camera. So we're going to get some things moving. And by God, grace of God, they both got off the street. So that's
Mm.
what you got to do, though. You got to put the situation in people's face, or they're not going to see it. Especially because the homeless, they're invisible. They can be made invisible. You got money, you can go to your house, you can go to your business, you can go and just totally avoid that whole area, right? But God didn't say to avoid that area, did he? You look at the rich man Lazarus, he didn't say nothing about avoid. You better take care of Lazarus if you see him out there, right? Or best you can, do something. Be a voice for them, right?
Wow. Wow, that is so great. I'm so like happy to hear your story and to hear how God is just using you to be an advocate for these the invisible ones, right? That
Mm-hmm.
is like so awesome. So I know you mentioned that you eventually learned the law and represented yourself. Why did you decide to become your own attorney instead of allowing the court attorneys to handle the case for you?
That's an excellent question. Typically, the public defenders want to make a deal with the city and not defend you like I know I would defend myself, right? So they don't necessarily have even, I'm sure, the time to invest in your case, to look up all the case law and really fight for you like you would want someone to fight for you. So I always would fight my own cases. All of my own cases I fought. I didn't use public defenders. So and what I was able to do, you'll see in the book, I was able to prove the city of Las Vegas guilty of treason for promoting sin and immorality. Because under Nevada Revised Statute, Chapter 196, right? That's the chapter of treason that describes what treason is. Part of it is basically going against the laws of the state. And then NRS 201 is the chapter of law about good morals and public decency. You know, they even have laws against profanity. They have laws against obscene material. Prurient material. Prurient material means that it has a sexual nature to it. Well, they're out there passing out these little cards with the ladies on them, right? Trying to seduce you with that. And they don't mess with those people doing that. And obviously, they have a lot of other immoral things happening, the promotion of sin. So what does Sin City have to do with good morals and public decency? Look that up. Nevada Revised Statute, Chapter 201, good morals and public decency. You guys belong in handcuffs. That's my last chapter. They belong in handcuffs. All these officials that run that city. So, that was the Lord opened my eyes to all that legal.
Wow, 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 wow. So in your book, you cite these laws and the different things that the homeless people would need to know to help protect them in the court system. That is awesome. So look, page turners, here's your call to action right here. If you don't do anything else, buy a copy of Joshua's book, and the next time you see a homeless person, hand them Joshua's book. That is your call to action today. Okay. If you can do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to receive a blessing for doing it too, because that's how God works. Tell us about your cover, because I'm loving your book cover right here. Yes, yes. This is
Praise God.
about your cover.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so I was trying to come up with the cover. I'm thinking to myself, how can I put it all together in one picture? And really, it's a picture on one side of me being a math teacher, and then the next side you see me in handcuffs with this judge. That judge is representing the 24th arrest when I had an Asian lady judge, an Asian female judge, and I won my case. But that's what that other side is when I'm in handcuffs. And I tried to just wrap it all in my brain, like what would be the best way to put it all together in a photo. And that's the transformation that took place and what happened. And in a sense, it shows the victory in the end, all in the one photo.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you know what? You have an awesome testimony, just as one of our viewers put in the chat in the comments today. An awesome, awesome testimony. I'm so glad that you came to be a guest on Writers with Purpose. And I'm just praying that the word just spreads like those wildfires out there in California. Okay. So tell the page turners, yeah. Tell the page turners where they can find you, where they can, get your book, your website, and all of that great stuff.
That's great. Yeah. So I'm on the book is on Amazon. It's probably in Barnes and Nobles pretty soon too. But also on my website, you can get the audio book. You can get a PDF of the book. Also, and it's just https:// then rjoshuacollins.wordpress.com. That's rjoshuacollins.wordpress.com. If you have any problems trying to find that, you can also email me at servingjesus99212@yahoo.com. That's servingjesus99212@yahoo.com. If you want to get involved or help any way too, that'd be great. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on our live stream too here and in the podcast, and I'd love to hear from whoever would like to reach out.
Yes, yes, awesome, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much, Joshua, for coming on the show. This was like you just like enlightened my day today with your testimony. It was just awesome. It was just awesome. Yes, yes. All right, all right. Well, page turners, yeah, remember my call to action. Go out and purchase Joshua's book. Let me put the banner up one more time for you all. Okay, preaching and persecution in Sin City. Okay, a living testimony right here. There's something in that book that somebody needs to read. Okay, every day when we go out, no matter what city you're in, somewhere in your daily routine, you run across a homeless person. That's just the way it is here in this country. So do your good deed today, grab a copy of Joshua's book and hand it to someone that really needs it, that is going to be helped, and that is going to thrive and survive as a result of Joshua's testimony. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for
All right.
thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being a guest on Writers with Purpose. All right, page turners. Well, we'll see you all on the next episode of Writers with Purpose. And in the meantime, you all keep writing, you keep reading, and above all, keep turning those pages. Bye bye, everybody.
Yeah.